Hello and welcome to Untwisted Threads. This is Gepard Wild and Soft. This 60% merino wool, 40% Tussa silk yarn features 34 colors. The colorway that we chose is 866 Forest Green. This 50-gram skein with 240 meters or 262 yards works up as a fingering weight yarn. The suggested gauge on a US 1.5 to 4 or 2.5 and 3.5 millimeter needles is 26 to 32 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For our swatch, I will be using a 3.5 millimeter needle size. In today's video, we're going to review and score Gepard Wild and Soft using our 5 categories, which are availability, softness, traction, durability, and cost to help you decide if this is the best yarn for you in your next project. Stay tuned until the end for a few pattern recommendations as well. Would you like to see how all of our yarns compare to one another or enter to win our monthly giveaway? Join our free newsletter linked in the description box below. Let's get started. For availability, we give Wild and Soft a score of 1.5 out of 5. Gepard yarns originated in 1989 and is a Danish brand characterized by Scandinavian style. Gepard works together with a number of small Italian family spinning mills that have a long tradition and experience with yarn and dyeing. Unfortunately, what that means for us is that this yarn is only available at a few shops here in the States that we know of. However, there are a few more options shipping from the United Kingdom and even more so throughout Europe. For softness, we give it a score of 4.1 out of 5. This yarn is a combination of merino wool and Tussa silk. I imagine you're familiar with the usually soft, fine-fibered merino wool, so we won't bother you with details about that. But what is Tussa silk? In comparison to the more common mulberry silk, Tussa silk is more coarse and rough. It is lightweight, originates from forests or a wild range habitat, and is a very inexpensive silk. Its texture is often described as being rough and grainy. In combination with the merino wool, this yarn is about a mid-softness yarn, not really rough or irritating, but there are still quite a few softer yarns than this that we have reviewed. For comparison, it is softer than Knitting for Olive Pure Silk and not quite as soft as Sandra Garn Double Sunday. I'd say it's pretty comparable to Drops Cotton Merino. For a micron count or softness scale rating, we'd give it around a 23, so not quite your typical merino softness wise, but still far softer than the average Peruvian Highland wool. Looking at the skein, we noticed a slight shine, but it wasn't until after blocking that it had a slight silky quality to it. But working with it, it actually felt a little drying over time. It wasn't irritating, but the change was recognizable for me. Honestly, there was something throwing me off a little bit about this yarn. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. For the fiber content, like wool, the silk content in this yarn provides breathability in the warmth and insulation in the cooler months. For traction, we give it a score of 3.5 out of 5. This bumpy and what looks like a 2-ply yarn wasn't super smooth or quick for me to work with, and I would honestly describe it as being a little finicky on the needles. Because it didn't have a lot of bounce, it did have some drag on my skin a little bit. In other words, it wasn't really a mindless knit kind of yarn in my experience. For durability, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. Merino, because of its fine fiber length and softness, is delicate on its own. Combining it with another fiber would make it stronger, and Tussa silk is known for its strength and resilience. However, when it came to the stress test, I did notice a medium amount of pill balls when feeling the swatch with my hands, which is more than likely due to the softness of the merino yarn. For washing, it is recommended to cold hand wash with a wool detergent. For cost, we give it a score of 3.7 out of 5. For being a 50-gram skein, you can expect to pay $13 US per skein. That breaks down to about 5 cents per yard, meaning a size medium sweater would cost approximately $91. Overall, we give Gepard Wild and Soft a score of 3.36 out of 5. I really don't know how to describe this yarn. It has a slight shine and softness, while the individual strand and feeling is a slight bit drying. There is quite a variety of colorway options and is unique in how it uses a wild silk rather than the traditional mulberry. So we had a little look on Ravelry and wanted to share a few pattern recommendations with you, hopefully to inspire you if you're wanting to use this yarn for a project of your own. The first pattern is Alberta Sunshine by Sandra Buzza. This free pattern fits a 35.5 to 50 inch bust with a recommended 2 inches of positive ease. It suggests using a US 3 and 4 or 3 1/4 and 3.5 millimeter needle size and a fingering weight yarn to meet gauge. It is worked in the round from top down, so you can try it on as you go for an optimal fit. It is a seamless t-shirt that features German short row shaping at the neck and a simple lace and pearl bump motif on the yoke. The next pattern is Reyna by Noora Backlund. This free shawl pattern comes in one size with finished measurements of 58 inches across the long edge and 21.5 inches at the center point. It suggests using a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needle size and a fingering weight yarn to meet gauge. It was designed to use one 100-gram skein of a specialty yarn, or you could use two 50-gram skeins of this yarn, keeping this project more budget friendly. It is constructed starting at the top in the center and is knitted flat and worked outwards from there. It includes a lace mesh stitch and pearl bumps or garter stitches. The last pattern is the Barbroe top by Pernille Larsen. It comes in 10 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 25 1/4 to 53.5 inches and is recommended to fit with negative ease. It is worked from the bottom up in the round in an all-over eyelet patterning. The top is divided into the front and back at the underarms, and each piece is then shaped and finished separately while working back and forth. The stitch pattern is charted only and is easy to follow. I-cord edges finish the front and back neckline. Have you used Gepard Wild and Soft yarn before? What yarn would you like for us to do a review on next? We would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's review, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.